Hello and welcome to the John Galt Brigade. I'm Dr. V, and I will provide some historical context. This episode is about Russia. Let's start from the top. Vladimir Putin studied international law at the Leningrad State University. He joined the KGB in 1975 upon graduation. From 1985 to 1990 he was stationed in Dresden, East Germany. The full scope of his responsibilities remains unclear. However, he was working with the Stasi on recruiting foreigners. In 1990, after the fall of the Iron Curtain and the end of the German Democratic Republic, he returned to Leningrad. He went back to the university he graduated from, and his main job duty was surveillance on the student body. He re-established a relationship with his former professor Anatoly Sobchak, who then was the first democratically elected mayor of Leningrad. Putin resigned from the active state security services with the rank of lieutenant colonel on August 20, 1991. This was the second day of the August putsch against Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev, initiated by KGB chairman Vladimir Kryuchkov, who feared the disintegration of the Soviet Union as a result of Gorbachev, perestroika and glasnost. Boris Yeltsin famously climbed a tank, and eventually the putschists didn't storm Russia's White House. In the aftermath of the coup d'etat, the Communist Party ceased to exist, and the Soviet Union dissolved. By then Putin was already head of the Committee for External Relations of the St. Petersburg Mayor's Office, with responsibility for promoting international relations and foreign investments. While the putsch was going on, Boris Yeltsin also kicked off the privatization of state-owned properties on August 19, 1991. The three key players had all Sobchak connections. In the early 80s, Anatoly Chubaris has started an informal circle of market-oriented economists in Leningrad. Yegor Gaida met Chubaris in '82 and attended his seminars. The third player was Andrei Lyanov, who studied and taught economics at the Leningrad State University. From 91 to 94, Yegor Gaida had various senior political appointments in the Russian government, including vice premier and minister of finance. In those roles he was overseeing the economic reforms carried out as shock therapy as advised by Jeffrey Sachs, then a professor of economics at Harvard. In November 1991, Chubaris became a minister in the Yeltsin cabinet, handling the portfolio of Rosimashchestvo, the Committee for the Management of State Property, which was handling privatization in Russia. In 1992, Lyanov became part-time economic advisor to Yegor Gaida and later the head of the Analysis and Planning Group. In 1995, the government adopted a loans for share scheme endorsed by Chubaris, then a deputy prime minister. The crown jewels of Russia's economy, including state-owned shares in Norilsk Nickel, Ukos, Lukoil, Subneft, were privatized through auctions. They were rigged and lacked competition. The auctions were largely controlled by insiders with political connections and the commercial banks which issued the loans. Effectively, Russia's most valuable enterprises had been sold for a very low price to what became the first generation of powerful oligarchs. The Russian people did not participate in the wealth distribution. After resigning as deputy prime minister in January 1996, Chubaris managed Boris Yeltsin's presidential re-election campaign. Funds raised in connection with the loans for share scheme helped to secure victory in the June elections. Subsequently, Chubaris became the chief of the Russian presidential administration. And Vladimir Putin was right in the middle of all of this. In June 1996, Putin became a deputy chief of the Presidential Property Management Department. There he was responsible for the foreign property of the state and organized transfer of the former assets of the Soviet Union and Communist Party to the Russian Federation. Gaida died unexpectedly on December 16, 2009. Chubaris has been the general manager of the state corporation Rosnanotech since 2008, where he manages multi-billion-dollar investments in emerging technologies. Lyanov works as a senior fellow at the Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., which is funded by the Koch brothers.